Hey, Dan. Welcome to Distilled.
Kira, welcome to Distilled for you as well.
How's it going today?
I'm doing fantastic. And you?
You know, I'm feeling pretty wonderful myself. Winter here in Texas, which is 20 degrees, which is nothing compared to you, honestly, in your springtime,
Yeah,
probably.
we're about to have a heat wave in winter and it's about to get up to 20 degrees. So,
Whoa, Colorado going crazy.
not really. It is kind of cold for us. Actually, it's very cold for us and I am missing warm weather.
Yeah, I can imagine. You can just picture the photos in your background.
There you
Beaches
go.
and
Yeah, I just need to turn my
sunny
desk up.
forest. Just stare at the photos.
Exactly.
Okay, so the final of a 3-part series about finding money in your
We've
church
made it.
finances. We made it to number 3. And you know
Isn't that
what,
great?
listener, you made it to number 3, which
Yeah.
golf clap for that, right?
Wait.
So what are we talking about in this third part?
We're going to talk about a second tool. In the first one, we talked to a commitment of clarity. The last episode, we talked about good being the enemy of great. Today, we are going to talk about pumpkins.
Okay, I didn't envision this going there, but I'm here. Let's go.
Yeah. So pumpkin, why am I talking about a pumpkin and how does that matter? I'm referencing a book by Mike Michalowicz called The Pumpkin Plant. You know those giant pumpkins that people grow and they have these competitions? I mean, we're talking massive pumpkins. And so my trivia question for you is, do you know what the largest ever pumpkin is?
Like in terms of weight?
In terms of weight?
Okay, 185?
185 pounds? You think it'd be that heavy?
Is that too high? Do we do this?
Here's the thing. I would have probably guessed maybe a little higher, but around there.
What?
The largest pumpkin is 2,749 pounds. That's like the weight of like a small car.
Isn't that a baby elephant or something like that?
This is a massive pumpkin, okay? Why are we talking about this? Well, that doesn't happen by accident. Now, there's several variables, but one of them, and the one that we're going to talk about, is that a farmer who wants to grow a 2,000 plus pound pumpkin is very intentional about how they grow it. I don't know if you've ever grown pumpkins. We did it one year and you get all these vines. They have all these buds, right? Well, if you want to grow...
I killed the only pumpkin I've ever tried to grow, so I don't really know.
If you just leave it, you're going to get normal sized pumpkins, small to normal sized pumpkins that just kind of grow and you'll have a whole bunch of them. Well, if you're trying to grow the biggest pumpkin, then what you actually do is you prune and you focus on the plant giving all of its energy to one vine and one bud so that it grows a giant pumpkin and it doesn't grow all these other pumpkins. How this relates to the church is that if you're really trying to be intentional with your mission and vision, you need to be like a farmer trying to grow a big pumpkin.
That's incredible that you just fuse those together.
And what we see churches do is they plant pumpkins and they let them all grow. What they get are small to medium pumpkins, just like a normal pumpkin. And there's nothing wrong with that. Those are good pumpkins. But if you feel called to a particular mission and you want to do that really well and you want to be excellent at it, what you need to do is make the hard decision to prune off some of the starts to some of these other pumpkins, not because they're bad, but because you want to focus your energy, focus your resources on building what is really great. And so that's what we've been talking about over the course of these 3 episodes. And that's the analogy that I want you to take and to say, hey, we're going to try to grow the biggest pumpkin for what God is calling our church to accomplish, for our mission and vision. So we've given you some mindset things, some tools for it. I'm talking about the last tool here to help you identify where you're spending your money that's not aligned with your mission and vision. And this is a tool that's very practical for making cuts with your budget and helping focus your dollars. It's a pruning tool.
Okay, so in the pumpkin analogy, good would be all these small to medium-sized pumpkins. We're trying to make it great. So in the last episode, we pulled in our ministry assessment tool of assessing which pumpkin matters the most. Now we're about to take the scissors to this vine, right? What is this tool? How does it help?
An expense evaluation tool. As you said, the ministry assessment helps us understand what of these pumpkins do we need to get rid of. And then this expense evaluation tool is going to help us figure out where we can cut money. It's a very simplistic tool. It does take a little bit of work because you need to get the data that you need for this. But there's a couple ways you can use this tool. What we want to do is, say you've done the ministry assessment, and let's just say that, I'm just going to call it ABC Ministry. You realize you're spending $30,000 a year to fund ABC Ministry, and it's not aligned. It doesn't produce impact, and it takes resources. What you're going to do with this is you can pull all of the transactions for that ministry. What you want to do ideally is understand how much you're spending on each thing overall. Ideally, I would see, hey, we spent 15 grand with this vendor or on this item for this ministry. You're going to see all the different ways you're spending money within that. And then you go through line by line and you're going to say, do we keep it? Do we reduce it? Do we stop doing it? So I might say, hey, we spent $3,000 on XYZ. We don't need to be doing that anymore. We're going to stop that. We just saved $3,000. Hey, we spent $10,000 on this item. We're going to cut that. We need to get that down to $5,000. We just saved $5,000. You go through, kind of a summarized line by line or categorized by your vendor and just clean up what you're spending money to either keep it, reduce it, or stop it. And what you'll find is that now you can take this $30,000 of spending. You might have a target like, hey, we want to move $10,000 from that ministry into our next gen ministry. We need to get this from 30 to 20. And so you go through and you write, keep, reduce, or stop until you've hit 10,000. Really, you want to go through the whole thing and see, could you save even more to redirect those dollars? That money's already spent. But what we find is for a lot of churches, things are cyclical. So if you spent that over the last 12 months, you're typically going to spend that over the next 12 months. So that's how you can start to save the money. Now you can use this tool with budgeting, right? If someone submits a budget and it's 30 grand and you need to get it down to 20 grand, you can do this exact same thing, keep, reduce, or stop. And then you're actually saving that money from happening. We love to do it as part of the budgeting process, but if you're not there or just not in your budgeting cycle right now, this is an easy way to start saving money. We have created this tool for you to be able to download and to use. The only piece that you need to do is get the data into that spreadsheet. Once you have that, it's a real simple process. You can even put in what your target savings is and then track along the way. And you'll see as you're chipping away at your target savings, it will calculate that for you and how much more you have left.
Very cool. This sounds like it's a very helpful process, but it is quite the process. Who should be in the room for this?
You want your finance people in the room. It is good to even have ministry leaders for the areas you're looking at in there because you want their say. You want people to understand why you're reducing it. Ultimately, you need the decision makers, right? Whatever that looks like in your church, you need to have those people in the room that are helping be able to say, like, we're going to take $10,000 out of this ministry and redirect it to this other ministry. And we're going to stick to this decision. We're not going to come back and be like, well, I know we said we wouldn't do this event, but we do it every year and we don't want to let people down. So we're going to do it. Well, you just spent your $10,000 and now you're going to be spending too much and not funding the best thing. You need to have alignment with your key leadership team, your key decision makers to say, this is hard. We're pruning out good things, but it's for the vision that we can grow the biggest pumpkin, right? So that we can fund the great things.
I love it. Okay, give it to me straight. What is one takeaway or action every pastor needs from this episode?
Don't be afraid to cut the good pumpkins so that you're focusing on the great pumpkins. It's easy to say, it's very hard to do, but the reality is this is how you prioritize funding your mission and your vision. And this is finding dollars. It frees up dollars in your budget to focus them on growing this giant pumpkin. And you're trusting that God's giving you the right vision and right mission, and you're redirecting your resources to that God's going to really flourish the ministry there because of your faithfulness to do that. So download our expense evaluation tool, fill that out. You can get that at churchfinancemadesimple.com. Go there, get the tool, fill it out, and start making cuts, but for the purpose of growing the most giant pumpkin.
Awesome. Well, here's my challenge to you, Dan. I'm going to send you some pumpkin seeds and we're going to have a competition.
Yes.
We're going to see between now and next year who's going to grow, especially in our different climates.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to wait until it's not snowy and frozen ground to plant, but yes.
Solid point. So I'm going to get a head start. Perfect.
Unbelievable.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Dan. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks, Kira.